Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hygge With It. Today we're doing an unhaul. Let's get into it. I just wanted to mention before we get into this video that if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do. I'd love to have you around, and also like this video if you enjoy it. If you enjoy a good unhaul, it's so cathartic. And I have 7 books here to unhaul. Some of them I read and just did not like. Others I started reading and DNF'd, and I knew, this is what happens sometimes. So the first that I want to share with you is a sneaky DNF that I made this month, and it's The Baker's Secret. This is by Stephen P. Kiernan, and this is a World War II historical fiction book, which I usually enjoy those storylines, and for this, I just wasn't into it. This is about a young woman, I believe in France, and she works at a bakery, and she's trying to help the resistance by putting notes and that kind of thing into some of her baked goods and getting the word out about the resistance that way. I love the premise of that. It's dangerous and interesting, but in the end, I found this to be quite boring. In the end, I felt like there was so much information about like farming, and I just didn't understand how that was going to move the story forward. It seemed like just like a sidetrack almost constantly. I just really wasn't enjoying it. So I DNF'd it and decided, okay, well, it's time for this to go off of the shelves. So that's The Baker's Secret, leaving my shelves. The next book that is leaving my shelves is The Confessions of Frannie Langton. I thought that I was going to love this one as well. Obviously, you buy books because you think you're going to like them, but I just was struggling with this one. This also has a super interesting premise. We meet Frannie Langton when she's on the stand for murder. She has been accused of murdering her mistress and also this man that she worked for, and she's telling the story of her life to us, and she's had definitely a very interesting life. I should mention that this takes place in like the 1800s. Why doesn't it say 1826? I found like I was always held at a distance with Frannie. I never felt like I really got to know her. I also struggled with believing their relationships. She was very close to her mistress, and I didn't fully believe that. I also didn't fully believe her hatred of certain people that she had every right to hate, but I just didn't believe it. So I just struggled with Frannie in particular quite a bit. And so, yeah, I ended up not loving it. So I'm gonna pass that along. It's done really well, like internationally renowned, like lots of critical acclaim, but it just didn't work for me. Another book that didn't quite work for me is 7 Days of Us. Now, I will say, I read this at Christmas and just after Christmas, and it was really perfect for that time. I felt like I was often reading it the same day. So Boxing Day, I would read that chapter on Boxing Day. And so that was really, really great. This follows a family that are in quarantine because their eldest daughter is a doctor and has just come back from a helping people at an epidemic abroad. And so she has been there and needs to go into quarantine. So she makes her whole family go into quarantine because of it. And it's about the drama in the family, and everyone seems to have secrets that come out, and that was really fun, but I didn't find this as funny as it's meant to be. I will say that someone on here said that this was like the Family Stone meets Love Actually, and I would say it's much more Family Stone-esque. It's a bit more serious. Love Actually makes me laugh. And I love that movie at Christmas time. But yeah, if you really liked The Family Stone, you might enjoy this. I did enjoy it, just not enough to keep it on my shelves, if that makes any sense. Next, I'm getting rid of the book that I hated the most last year. It was on my worst books of 2019 list. Actually, there's another book here that also made it to the list, but this was like the worst one. I'll link that video down below if you haven't watched it already. It's An Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina. This did not work for me whatsoever. This follows a group of people who are staying at this inn, and it's like a winter getaway. You can go skating, you can go cross-country skiing, and a huge snowstorm comes in and they're basically trapped at this inn, and then people start dying. I love the premise of this. Very Agatha Christie-esque, and there are references to Agatha Christie in here, and I'm sorry to say that she cannot compare to Agatha Christie. I found the characters extremely annoying and they didn't make sense. The things that they were doing did not make sense. There's a love story in this. And if the people around you were being murdered and you know that the murderer is amongst you, do you think that you would be going out of your way to try and spark a relationship with a potential murderer? I don't think so. And that's in here, and I just didn't like it. Also, the ending, I'm not going to say the ending, but essentially you would not have been able to really guess who it was and why. You didn't guess the motive because you find it out at the end, the reasoning behind it, and it was just really dumb. Goodbye. Also not atmospheric. Anyway, I'm going to stop. I'm also going to get rid of the Fourth Trimester. There is nothing wrong with this book. This is about the fourth trimester, just after you've given birth, the things that your body is going through, the things that your mind are going through, and basically healing. I found this a little bit too natural and not scientific enough. I'm a science gal through and through, and this did not have that in here. I also didn't find it super easy to read, and it just was not for me. I'm sure it would be for so many other people though. So if you know a pregnant woman and they are more interested in Eastern medicine, yoga, that kind of thing, this might be a perfect gift for them. It just wasn't quite for me. Maybe at a different time in my life it would have been, but yeah, so I'm gonna pass that along. And then I am also going to get rid of The Hiding Place by C.J. Tudor. This was a fun read. It's very much a bit of a retelling of Pet Sematary by Stephen King. And I think that's what I'm struggling with C.J. Tudor, is she did the same thing with her first book, The Chalk Man, which is a bit of a retelling of it. And I just kind of want her to go out on her own and create a story that's completely her own, that no one else has envisioned in the first place. And she's not tied in any way to any other author or story. I just want her to do her own thing. So I am curious about The Other People, which is her latest. Let me know if you've read it and if it is a retelling of any of Stephen King's stuff, because if it's not, I might be inclined to pick it up because she's a great writer. This was creepy and unsettling and kind of dirty at some points. You felt gritty and gross and like really great writing, just not original enough. So I'm passing this on. Oh, I should have mentioned, this is about a man who goes back to his hometown to teach high school, and he really is going to sort out the mysteries of his past. His sister disappeared at one point for several days, and when she came back, she was very much not herself. She has since died, and you are going back into the past trying to deconstruct and figure out what went on with his sister. And it is a really good read. It's just not original enough for me. And last but not least is a book that I think is controversial for me to say. I didn't like it. And also made my least favorite books of 2019 list. It's Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This is a historical fiction book about a family that move from Korea to Japan in the early 1900s. We follow a woman, well, she's a young woman who gets pregnant by this one man who doesn't take care of her, who she finds out actually is married with children and is abandoned. And she actually ends up marrying a man who says, I will step in, I will be the father, but we're moving to Japan. And it's their move. It's a multi-generational story. And it's about the racism that they experience when they move to Japan. Korean people weren't looked at this time period as being equals, and it's their struggle. I love the idea of this book, but I felt like everything happened in this book and nothing happened. I was easily bored. World War II happens in here and it's like very much glossed over, and I didn't connect with the writing or the characters either. Yeah. I listened to this on audio and I think that's the only way I got through it. Now, that said, so many people adore this book, so don't let me put you off of reading this. It has, again, so much critical acclaim. I feel that way about, like, of all of the books, okay, I'm gonna like go through and go like of all of the books that I don't recommend that you read and which ones I recommend that you read. Like, I don't want to put you off. Okay, I don't want to put you off of The Confessions of Frannie Langton, The Hiding Place, and Pachinko. 7 Days of Us was just okay for me. I would not really recommend The Baker's Secret, and I would not recommend An Unwanted Guest. Like, I think they're a waste of your time. And then The Fourth Trimester is like, if you are a different person than me and pregnant. I thought I should mention that, because some books are fantastic. They're just not for you. Oh, that just went off. Anyway, I hope that you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comments below what you have recently got off of your shelves that felt really good. I find it really cathartic. I just love unhauling and hauling, which is an upcoming video for you. I will talk with you guys soon. Oh, one more thing. I wanted to mention that I'm getting much better at my description box. So down in my description box, I've got my Amazon wish list. I've got my Goodreads page, and I've also got my Instagram page, so you can go and find me at all these places. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.